and welcome to News at this hour, and this is our top story. Cracking the whip, the Election Commission has asked the state governments to take down all unauthorized political advertisements from government, public and private properties and send a compliance report in the next 24 hours. The Congress had recently raised the issue with the poll panel. My colleague Sunil Prabhu joins me for more on this story. Sunil, first, can you tell us what are these unauthorized political advertisements that EC is talking about?
Well, these are basically cutout hoardings, banner, flags, which were ordered to be removed in railway stations, in bus stands, in airports, in railway bridges, in roadways, across government buses, electric telephone poles, municipal local bodies buildings, and a whole host of places. In this context, as the Election Commission has written to the Cabinet Secretary as well as the Chief Secretaries of all states and union territories to comply with this, that they have to remove these banners and hoardings and made it clear that they've taken a very serious note of the non-compliance. As you are well aware, the Election Commission takes control right up till June 4th, and they want a level playing field so as to ensure a free and fair election. And it's in this context that they are trying to ensure, and that is why they've directed the Cabinet Secretary and Chief Secretaries to give it to them in writing by the 21st at 5 p.m. That they've complied with all these, the fact that they've removed all the unauthorized political advertisements that have been displayed.
Sunil, you've covered many elections. Is the EC being extra vigilant this time around?
Definitely. It's for the first time that we saw, a minister, Mrs. Shobha, being directed by they've told the Chief Electoral Officer of Bangalore to not only comply, but, inform them about the appropriate action that they'll take against her because of her, communal remarks that she's made against Tamils. Even though she's apologized, they have made it very clear that they want the CEO to take action and to inform them. So they are being extremely tough this time round on anybody who's violating the moral code of conduct, especially in the context of hate speeches.
Thank you very much, Sunil, for joining us on that story. Now, in a breakthrough, Assam Police's Special Task Force has arrested the ISIS India chief Haris Faruqi and one of his associates who are on the National Investigation Agency's most wanted list after they entered Assam's Dhubri illegally from neighboring Bangladesh. Agencies received information that two members of ISIS in India who were camping in the neighboring country would cross over to India at the Dhubri sector to carry out sabotage activities, STF sources told NDTV, and now he has been arrested. The Supreme Court is always there for citizens of India, says the Chief Justice of India. He also says in an exclusive interview to NDTV, irrespective of wealth, social status, caste, religion or gender, or even who's in power, and that no case is too small for the highest court of the land. This is what D.Y. Chandrachud, the Chief Justice of India, told NDTV's Ashish Bhargav in an exclusive interview. Watch out the key excerpts.
As a head of Indian judiciary, how you ensure common people that judiciary is for them and working hard for them?
Let me put it in just a few sentences. First and foremost, I think the greatest strength of the Supreme Court of India and of our high courts and the district judiciary is that we are people's courts. There's a purpose why these courts were created in terms of the constitutional structure, and this was to ensure that irrespective of your wealth, irrespective of social status, irrespective of caste, irrespective of religion, irrespective of gender or any other social grouping, we provide justice to common citizens. And there is no case which is too small even for the highest court of the nation, and there is no case which is too big. We treat everyone with the same sense of equal treatment, And our mission ultimately is to stand by common people. And we are conscious of the fact that irrespective of who is in power, in which state, common people do have concerns, whether it is on issues pertaining to their daily lives or some of the more important issues which confront the nation. And the judiciary is a very vital element in the preservation of the rule of law. And it is when people have faith in the work which courts do that we really gain legitimacy as part of the overall constitutional fabric. So I want to send this message across that we are there for the common citizens every moment of our working lives. Sometimes I get emails even in the middle of the night, and I'm always available to answer those emails. I got an email at close to midnight there was a young woman who needed a medical termination of pregnancy. My staff got in touch with me. We constituted a bench right away the next day, and those cases were heard.
The Supreme Court has questioned the Enforcement Directorate over filing of supplementary charge sheets to deny default bail for an accused and to keep such persons in jail for an indefinite period. A bench of Justice Sanjeev Khanna and Justice Dipankar Datta told the central agency this practice of effectively keeping accused in jail without a trial troubled the top court. The court said, and I quote, "The whole object of default bail is that you should not arrest the accused till an investigation is complete. You cannot arrest an accused and say the trial will not commence till investigation is not complete. You cannot keep filing supplementary charge sheets and then the person is in jail without trial." The court was hearing a case where a person is behind bars for 18 months. My colleague Ashish Bhargav has more on this.
Supreme Court always says that jail is exception and bail is rule, except serious cases like UAPA, means terrorist activity. So here also Supreme Court indicating investigative agencies like ED should fall in line and proper charges should be filed. Their aim should be the investigating the case, not to keep any accused in jail for a long time. Now, because many cases are coming in Supreme Court also, Supreme Court has interpreted in PMLA, especially in many ways. There is some direction also from the previous benches also. So it's a big issue before Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court now want to settle it finally. And this is the big question because Justice Sanjeev Khanna bench is hearing Manish Sisodia case also, many PMLA cases also, and this review petition of PMLA judgment of Supreme Court which came in 2022, that is also under review. Justice Khanna is hearing that case also, whether you can give liberty to the investigation agency and burden, reverse burden to the accused. That is the big question, an important question, and rightly Supreme Court is pointing out that you should fall in line. You can't do every time in every case, you can't do like this. Without trial, you keep the accused inside jail and there is no trial. Here also 18 months the accused has been in jail. So it's a big issue and big observation from Supreme Court.
Another moral policing horror in Karnataka has surfaced. A mob has assaulted a student belonging to a minority community. The student was attacked on his way back home from college. He was apparently talking to a Hindu girl over the phone. A mob of 9 people attacked the student and none of them have been arrested so far. In fact, the student also alleged that he was locked up and threatened with a knife. My colleague Pratibha Raman has more on the story.
Well, in fact, yes, rightly, as you pointed out, this is a case that is not new to Karnataka. Initially, we have seen such kind of incidents of moral policing that have been witnessed in coastal Karnataka, like Mangaluru, for instance. And then it did get into the belt of North Karnataka as well. In fact, recently there was a case in Haveri too that came to light. And now we have another incident again in northern Karnataka, Yadgiri district to be precise. And this happened on the 18th of March, and despite an FIR that has been lodged against the perpetrators here who belong to the Hindu community, is what we hear. They have been charged under various sections of the ITC, but once The case was registered. We hear that the accused are at large. The police have definitely launched a manhunt, but then these kind of mindsets definitely need to change, and that needs to be addressed as far as Karnataka is concerned with rising cases of such incidents.
Now, weeks ahead of the elections, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology on Wednesday notified the Press Information Bureau's fact-check unit as the designated body to flag misinformation about central government departments to social media platforms. Under the IT rules of 2021, social media platforms could lose the legal liability protections they enjoy for content posted by users if they choose to keep notified misinformation available online. Time for a quick break on the show. More on the other side. Stay tuned. Now, there has been a twist in the case of the coaching student kidnapped in Kota. The Kota police who investigated the case say that the entire case appears to have been faked by the victim and her friend who wanted money to go abroad. Here's a report.
A twist in the Kota kidnap case. These visuals of a young girl with her mouth gagged and hands tied, sent to her father with a ransom demand of rupees 30 lakh, are fake and have been enacted by the victim herself, say the police.
अभी तक तो यही सामने आया है कि ये कोटा में कहीं किसी कोचिंग की छात्रा नहीं थी, ना ही ये कोटा में कहीं किसी पीजी या हॉस्टल में रहती।
These pictures of the girl with her hands tied and mouth gagged were filmed in a friend's kitchen in Indore. The victim, who spoke last to her parents on Sunday, allegedly went to Indore where these pictures were taken to scare her parents. She then appears to have gone to Jaipur. CCTV footage shows her walking at a railway station in Durgapura in Jaipur with two friends. The entire case opened up once the police zeroed in on the telephone number from where the ransom messages were sent.
शिवपुरी के पुलिस विभाग से मुझे सूचना मिली थी और उन्होंने बताया कि वहाँ पर जो रघुवीर धाकड़ जी है शिवपुरी के रेजिडेंट, उनके पास उनकी जो बेटी है वो इधर कोटा में कोचिंग कर रही है और उनके पास कुछ फोटोग्राफ्स और धमकी भरे वाले मैसेज आए हैं जिसमें उन्होंने कहा है कि आपकी बेटी को हमने अगवा कर लिया है.
The police say the reason for enacting a fake kidnapping and demanding a ransom of 30 lakh rupees was because the girl and her companion wanted to go abroad. They have now appealed to them to return. With Shakir Ali in Kota, Harsha Kumari Singh, NDTV.
In some other news now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Bhutan has been postponed due to bad weather conditions. The PM was scheduled to visit the neighbouring country between 21st to 22nd of March ahead of the PM's visit. Massive posters lined the meandering mountain roads to welcome him to the country. My colleague Saurabh Gupta has more on the story.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's state visit to Bhutan has been postponed due to inclement weather over and around the Paro airport. Now, this is of course important given the fact that this was a very important state visit and diplomatic channels on both sides are working out new dates, is what the Ministry of External Affairs has said in a statement. Now, obviously, Paro and Thimphu have seen very challenging weather all through the day today, and the forecast for Wednesday and Thursday are equally challenging, and therefore it is going to be perhaps prudent to postpone the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Bhutan. Although it's a very important visit, both sides are working out new dates, is what the MEA has said.
2 years on, the war in Ukraine rages on. Last week, Russia held its first election since the war began, with Russian President Vladimir Putin securing another 6 years in power. Since the polls, Ukraine has amplified its retaliatory strikes on the border, with recent attacks in Belgorod killing roughly 4 and forcing evacuations of thousands of children. NDTV's Uma Shankar Singh brings you this report from near the front line in Belgorod in Russia, near the Ukraine border.
कुर्स से बेलगोरोद की तरफ चला हूँ। कुर्स से बेलगोरोद तकरीबन 2.25 घंटे की दूरी पर है और कुर्स का हाल है उससे कहीं ज़्यादा जो गंभीर हालत है वो बेलगोरोद की है और वहाँ शहर जो है वो बंद बताया जा रहा है और लोगों को घरों से निकलने की इजाज़त नहीं है।
While most Russian regions have remained unscathed in the war, Belgorod is an exception, with intensified shelling forcing closures across the region, with people ordered to evacuate or remain indoors. From airports to shopping centres and schools, all city areas have been shut down, leaving the region in a dystopian state.
बेलगोरोद का जो स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटी है जहाँ पे छात्रों की चहल पहल हुआ करती थी, इस वक्त जो है यहाँ बिल्कुल सन्नाटा है। ज़्यादातर क्लास जो है वो ऑनलाइन हो चुकी है और जो छात्र हैं वो अधिकतर घर जा चुके हैं, जो बाहर के छात्र हैं वो इसलिए क्योंकि इस इलाके में जो अटैक का ख़तरा है वो बहुत ज़्यादा है और इसलिए शहर जो है वो कई दिनों से बंद रहा।
Russian President Putin has accused Kyiv of using terrorist methods while launching strikes on the region to disrupt the polls. Ukraine has increasingly used its long-range weapons to hit oil refineries and depots deep inside Russia in an attempt to unsettle the Russian border regions, further putting political pressure on Putin.
ये बिल्कुल सीमा का इलाका है। यहाँ से 15 किलोमीटर दूर यूक्रेन बॉर्डर है और यहाँ हम पहुँचकर हमने जो फौजी बंकर था वहाँ पर हमने इजाज़त मांगी शूट की, लेकिन उन्होंने शूट की इजाज़त नहीं दी और ये कहा कि आप वापस बेलगोरोद जाकर शूट कर सकते हैं। हम आपको ये बता रहे हैं कि जो हम जहाँ तक पहुँचे थे वो ये इलाका है बिल्कुल खार्किव के पास का।
As the Russia-Ukraine war enters its third year with no end in sight, innocent civilians continue to become victims on the war front. With Uma Shankar Singh, Bureau Report, NDTV.